As a young pastor receiving my first pastorate, a wise pastor gave me some recommendations. He said, always keep a clean sacristy. Always serve those parishioners who are sick and homebound, reaching out to them from your community. Always keep a balanced checkbook as best as you can, and always have a chainsaw nearby just in case you need it. As soon as I was able to take care of the first three, I then went out to buy a chainsaw. And while it might be odd to see a pastor taking trees down around the church and around the building, it was an important ministry. Remember, Jesus and his Father worked with wood as carpenters. Sometimes, though, the trees that needed limbs to be taken down were such that they had not borne any fruit, or they did not have any leaves for quite some time. And when I would sometimes cut through these limbs, I would find that there was already death and disease inside of the trunk. I mention this to you today because of the words of our Lord in the Gospel, as he speaks about the commandment to love even those who are our enemies. As he says to us that before we were at least allowed, in a sense, to hate our enemies, the Lord, who is the knower of hearts and souls, knows that when we allow hate to come into our lives, then it eats us up, eats us from the inside out. It might not see the light of day, but over time it shows us that we lose life. We don't bear fruit, the fruit of charity and the fruit of joy, if we let it remain in our hearts. And it's not just hate, but in our modern society it's also indifference. Indifference to the needs of others that are around us. It's much easier to ignore than it is to hate sometimes. But Jesus, and all of our readings today, not just speaking about love and hate, are also talking to us about the call to holiness. That God is holy, that God is set apart, that God is the one who is the giver of holiness. And we, as Christians, as Catholic Christians, are invited by God's grace to be perfected in charity, which means that we are not allowed to hate, that it's not good for us. In fact, it's a disease of sorts that eats us from the inside out. Instead, the Lord gives us the grace to see others as our brothers and sisters, to forgive, and to be able to forgive even when we don't believe we have it within us, because we've asked for his help and for his assistance. Do you desire to be holy? Whatever your state in life, do you prefer and give preference to love above all else? Even if it seems as though it's too hard to love those who even persecute us, you and I have the grace within our reach to love and to be holy, to give life rather than to take it, and to walk with those who are in need of our help.